Ebooks and written products. The writing process itself. As I suggested in the previous chapter, when I see or hear people who claim they cannot write to save their life, I frankly don't believe, simply because if I can do it, so can they. The biggest problem that most people have when they sit down to start writing an ebook is that the sheer volume of writing involved scares them. Whilst the majority of online marketers are more than happy and comfortable with writing 300 or 400 word articles, the thought of writing a 10,000 word ebook, which this is almost overwhelming. Hence, the first trick to writing ebooks is to forget the idea that you have to create a 10,000 word masterpiece. In fact, forget it for two reasons. Firstly, when you are writing an ebook for online consumers, you are not trying to create a work of art, something to parallel the best of Hemingway or Shakespeare. All you need to do in your book is convey the information that your research has indicated anyone who is going to buy a product like yours needs and wants. Furthermore, trying to write in a literary or art school way is a mistake because it is generally agreed that if you are writing for online users, you should write at a level which could be understood by a relatively intelligent high school student. You're not, in other words, writing for people who have a PhD in nuclear physics, unless, of course, you are writing about nuclear physics. Secondly, banish the idea of writing a 10,000-word ebook from your mind. Instead, focus on writing a tranche of 500-word articles, exactly the kind of thing you would be doing to market your business in any case. If you are using Microsoft Word or the free OpenOffice equivalent writer, you have an automatic word count, so it makes it easy for you to keep an eye on exactly how much work you have done. View your ebook as a series of relatively short articles rather than as one long and therefore daunting book, and the whole writing process automatically becomes easier. This is particularly true if after you complete every 500 or 600 words, you take a few minutes break to refresh yourself and to give your typing fingers a rest. It will also help if you can speed up the process of writing as well, because the more quickly you can write, the sooner the job will be finished. One thing that I have found over the years to be especially helpful when it comes to writing quickly is to adopt what I want is memorably described as a write like a maniac attitude. In effect, write as quickly as your fingers will fly around the keyboard, and do not under any circumstances try to edit your work as you go along. If you do so, it disturbs the whole writing process, making it disjointed and slowing it down to a snail's crawl. So forget editing or reviewing what you have written until you finish. This has another advantage in that if you try to read and edit your work as you go along, you will often read what you meant to write rather than what you managed to get down. Hence, editing as you go along is almost always less effective than editing once the work is completed. Another option is to use software to help you create your ebooks and other written materials like articles and short reports. With all of my ebooks nowadays written using the excellent Dragon Natural Speaking software. This is software that allows you to dictate your ebook into your computer, which then transposes what you say into your document. This naturally means that the time it takes you to write your ebooks or your articles will be cut in half. You can even use the software to dictate email messages. After all, whilst my typing skills are reasonable, I can certainly talk far more quickly than I can type. Hence, using software speeds up the whole written product creation process immeasurably. There are various different versions of the software available, with the basic standard model costing pennies short of $110. For the increased productivity that the software can bring to your business, this is a very small price to pay, but to a certain extent, the value of the software will depend upon how often you are going to use it. On the other hand, once you have it, you will undoubtedly use it, and the more often you do so, the more you will realize how much time the program can save you. You do not pay the full retail price either. Check out the availability on eBay because there are usually some great bargains on offer. You can also find older versions of the software on eBay as well, but I would not really recommend going back to a previous version, as voice recognition software comes on in leaps and bounds with every update, and you will definitely find that version 10 is a big step up from version 9, for example. Once you have written your ebook, as I suggested earlier, it is almost impossible to properly edit your work as you are doing it, because you are still too close to what you meant to say. However, unless you have recent experience of writing and editing, you may find that the editing process becomes extremely time-consuming, in which case you might want to ask someone else to read through it for you. When they do so, they will almost always find mistakes that you missed, so asking someone else to read the book for you is usually a very good idea. In fact, if you know someone who is also involved in online marketing who can help you in this respect, it is quite likely that there will have lots of helpful ideas and suggestions as well. In this way, the overall quality of your product will be significantly improved whilst your book is also properly edited at the same time. Once you have the book ready to go, there are a few final things you have to decide upon and put in place. Firstly, when an online marketer issues any kind of digital product, they will release a product with a license attached, which dictates what anyone who buys or otherwise obtains it can do with that product. As this is your product, you have to decide what kind of a license you want to issue, once again bearing in mind that there is a cost and value judgment to be made here. At the most restrictive end of the price spectrum are products that are published with a private or personal usage license attached. This license basically means that the buyer can do whatever they want with it personally, but they cannot give it or sell it to anyone else. In fact, in theory, they are not even allowed to let anyone else use it, but this is pretty much unenforceable. Next, you have a Wrestle Rights RR license, one which grants your customer the right to sell the product and to retain all the proceeds when they do so. However, all they can sell to their customer is a personal usage license, so they cannot sell it as well. Because you gave your buyer the right to resell the product, it enables you to charge a slightly higher price than you would be able to in a previous example. Next, you have a Master Resale Rights MRR license, where you sell the product to your customer, who can then sell it to their customer. However, at that point, the license also grants that customer resale rights of some description, either MRR or RR. So the price you charge for your product can be increased again as the overall product value is also raised. Finally, you can give your customer restricted or unrestricted private label rights, which in the first case means they can do almost anything they want with it, whilst in the second scenario, they have carte blanche. Selling a product with a PLR license attached enables you to charge the highest price for the product because, with an unrestricted license, everyone in the chain can sell the product and thereby make a profit, or at least cover their initial costs. However, there is one potential fly in the ointment. If you sell a product with unrestricted PLR rights and let customers do whatever they want with it, you will almost certainly find it being sold on auction sites for $2 a month or even a week later. This always happens because some people are simply very poor salesmen. The only way they can sell your product is by charging a rock-bottom price, which by the terms of the license they are entitled to do. Consequently, although by granting a PLR license with your product, you theoretically increased the value, what actually happens in reality is that the value is very quickly wiped out. After all, why someone would pay you $97 for your ebook when they can buy it from an online auction site for $1? Hence, I would suggest that you do not go beyond offering your customer an MRR license with a stipulation in that license that they do not resell the product for less than $47, as an example. This is not a legally enforceable stipulation in most jurisdictions, but it is worth trying because most of your more sensible customers will stick to it, as it protects their interests as well as yours. The next thing you need to organize is an attractive cover graphic for your book. Although, of course, you do not publish an ebook with a physical cover, you need a graphic to add to the first page of the book and to your website to make it look professional. Because your website is the shop window of your business, which ultimately dictates whether people buy or not, you should not skimp on this graphic even though there is no such thing as a real cover for an ebook. If you're selling for a premium quality price, anything in excess of $47, you need the product to look premium quality as well. You should therefore employ a graphic designer who has some experience of working with the latest generation of 3D ebook covers. If you don't know anyone suitable, check whether there are Warrior Forum members running graphic design special offers at the top of the page, or look for someone who is advertising their services as a graphic designer in the Warriors for Hire section of the site near the bottom of the same page. Okay, your book is almost ready to go. All you need to do is add legal disclaimer information inside the front cover, particularly if your product is one that is focused on some aspect of making money online. There's an example in Appendix A at the back of this book. And it often helps to add contact and brief biographical information at the back of your ebook as well. The final job is to turn the Word or Writer document into a secure PDF. And if you are using the latter rather than the former, you're in luck. Within the Writer program, there is an inbuilt utility to export your document as a secured PDF, although there are many online resources, such as Primo PDF, with which you can convert a Word document without using OpenOffice. If, however, you are using Writer, open the document to make sure that it is formatted correctly, that your graphic and website information are all positioned correctly, and that everything looks as it should. This is important because the way the document looks in Writer is exactly the way it will be produced as a PDF. Right-click the file link at the top left-hand corner of the screen, and you should see the Export as PDF link approximately halfway down the drop-down menu that this action produces. As a general rule, I would suggest that you leave almost all of the PDF settings as they are by default, apart from the fact that you should make it far more secure. Do this by clicking the Security tab at the top right-hand corner. You do not want to encrypt the PDF document, as this would make it impossible for your buyers to read, which might lead to 1 or 2 complaints. However, you do want to restrict permissions, because by doing so, you can stop people copying or cutting sections from your document. Set your password, and that is pretty much everything you need to do. Your ebook is now ready, so let's move on to consider how you create audio materials and how they fit into your business structure.